That is what this fund is speaking to. This fund is inviting us to be able to chew gum and scale the stairs. To be able not to overburden the Kenyan public with additional taxes or additional borrowing, but also at the same time to invest in very capital-intensive infrastructure projects, that the building of a new airport, completion of that railway, SGR railway, completion of the dual carriage roads that we have mentioned, be it Mausami to Rironi, be it Marwa to Nanyuki, to Isiolo, to Meru, back to Makutano, be it the one in Gong, Karen, and back to Gong Road. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, what will this fund do? Because I've had many people ask that. Okay, so you are telling us you have a national infrastructure fund and you privatize companies, state-owned companies, put the money in the fund. Then you have told us you will not pay debt from that fund, you will not pay salaries, it will not be budgetary support fund. Instead of getting 200 billion shillings to go and invest in the building of a new JKI or a new airport here in Nairobi, any person that you invite to do a public-private partnership, even in the private sector, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I know you are a very successful business person, you know, that whatever investment you make, Honorable Speaker, people leverage on equity. And people will have equity, then they go out and borrow. I'll have my 1 billion shillings, I want to invest in a 5 billion shillings project. That constitutes 20% of the investment in that project. So long as it's commercially viable, I go to the market, I raise another 4 billion shillings, then the project pays for itself. That is all government intends to do with this fund. The 200 billion shillings you raise from Safaricom or from Kenya Pipeline, instead of taking that 200 billion shillings, paying salaries, buying relief food, paying for our school capitation, we continue doing that as we have been doing through our locally raised revenues and what we are borrowing domestically and externally. But since the construction of an airport today is a huge commercial opportunity, and I alluded to that, supposing we had those efficient airports, all those world airlines in the Gulf had the opportunity today to use Kenya or Nairobi as their operation hub. You can imagine one airline going to Europe probably needs 3 sets of crews. That crew would need to be accommodated in hotels in Nairobi for them to come and change shifts. Imagine the investment opportunity in hotels, in our hospitality industry. Our taxis, our Uber drivers, having this hub as a connecting hub now between those countries where there is war and the rest of the world, Honorable Speaker. Today, somebody who was going to the US through Emirates or Qatar cannot. But if Qatar could operate from Nairobi, is a business opportunity and a commercially viable opportunity, Honorable Speaker. That is what I'm saying. If we take, say, we need 200 billion shillings to invest in a new airport. If we invite Honorable Robert Mbui as a private investor to come and invest in the airport, all Mbui will need is 50 billion shillings. Then he will go out and raise from the capital markets and financial markets another 150 billion shillings. That is the opportunity we want to tap into, Honorable Speaker. That we can have our 200 billion shillings, instead of investing a lot of it in that airport, we will take our 50 billion shillings, invite a private investor who will bring in the efficiency of the private sector to bring their 20 or 30 billion shillings, buy equity into that project of a new airport. And that new project will leverage on the equity that you have and the capital that you have to raise probably 5-fold or 10-fold the money that you are holding and be able to efficiently run a new airport that will repay itself. Therefore, instead of investing 200 billion shillings into one project, that 200 billion shillings can go into 10 projects. And that is how the President, in his State of the Nation address last year, for those who care to remember, alluded to how you can invest 5 trillion shillings in the next few years by leveraging on what we raise from our public assets that we privatize, leverage on that, raise more capital, invest in those capital-heavy infrastructure projects that will further grow our economy and create job opportunities for millions of our young people, whom we are very happy to keep lying to as we lecture them out there, telling them, oh, you will get jobs. Oh, go to school. We are paying for you school fees. You finish your schooling and you get jobs. But there will be no jobs if you don't grow this economy. And you will not grow this economy by taxing Kenyans or over borrowing. You will not. It is true. And Robert Mbui was telling us 2 years ago during the finance bill that you cannot tax the people to death. That is what now we are inviting you. Don't tax Kenyans to death. Let us have innovative new financing ways, models that have worked elsewhere, that have worked in UAE, that have worked in Singapore, that have worked in Australia, that have worked in Germany and other countries around the world. Because we aspire to be a first world country, that aspiration must be backed by solid legislation like this. Solid legislation that will ensure that we protect our public assets. Solid legislation that will ensure that the assets we privatize, that money does not go to waste. And generations to come will see a new SGR, will see a new airport, will see dams in Galana Kulalu, will see dams in Tana River, in Kilifi, will see a nation that feeds itself.
Give him an additional 2 minutes just to wrap it up.
Honorable Speaker was saying a nation that will be able to feed itself. That will not happen by accident, Honorable Speaker. It must be deliberate and conscious effort by leaders. And I say by leaders, Honorable Speaker, because politicians will tend to speak to what they think will be exciting to the gallery. I want to invite you, honorable ladies and gentlemen, honorable members of parliament, please desist from the temptation to be politicians. I know next year is an electoral year, but Kenyans will remember you for the legislation like this that you passed, that protected the assets, grew the economy, and secured the future of our children. And I say our children for those of us who have children, and those of us who have young children, for that matter. Because I know some of us have children who are as old as me. But those with young children...
Order, MD, Majority Leader.
Sorry?
If it were not for politics, you would not be addressing this house. But there's good politics and there's bad politics.
There's good, yes,
so
Honorable Speaker, thank you. There's good politics, but there's backward politics. Retrogressive politics. That only seeks to excite the masses without speaking truth to them. I hear people saying, oh, I want to speak truth to power. Also speak truth to the people. Because the power belongs to the people. Power comes from the people. If you do not speak truth to them, they will punish you, and punish you next year. Honorable Speaker, I beg to move and request the very intelligent chair of the Finance and National Planning Committee,